The streets of the capital are set to come to a standstill as taxi drivers mount their second go-slow protest over pollution. The cabbies against Boris Group are unhappy with the Mayor's decisions, which they say has hit them in the pocket. With us to talk more about this, we have Davies, who's organising the protest ahead of the Mayor's appearance in the House of Commons tomorrow. So, Dave, thanks for coming in today. What is it that you're sort of arguing about at the moment? What has pollution got to do with the protest today?
Well, basically, Boris Johnson imposed a London taxi age limit. He was required to reduce pollution. There's 4,000 people a year die from pollution in London. Taxi drivers, some of the worst affected by the pollution. Yeah. Boris gave technical evidence to the Environmental Audit Committee in 2011 that the new taxis were creating more pollution than the older taxis. He said a Euro 5 taxi creates 5 times as much NO2. He then bizarrely introduced a taxi age limit, scrapping the older taxis, which are actually cleaner than the brand new taxis.
Is the onus more on the taxi driver to source a better car, or better, well, not necessarily a better car, but a more efficient car for the environment? Is that where the sort of impetus should lie?
Well, that would be a great scenario, but actually taxi drivers are forced to buy the vehicles that are given certification by TfL and Boris Johnson. He's actually imposed this on taxi drivers. You know, he's forced them to scrap perfectly good vehicles and buy new taxis at £40,000, but at the same time it's done absolutely nothing to reduce pollution.
Sure, I see what you mean.
The Environmental Audit Committee are going to question Boris tomorrow about his failed air quality strategies, and we'd like to urge the committee to actually challenge Boris and ask him why he's needlessly scrapped taxis. Every week drivers are being, you know, having their vehicles scrapped, so it's not a reasonable solution to just scrap vehicles when the new vehicles are creating more pollution than the older vehicles.
So what would you like to see essentially happen? What would you like to, in terms of an action plan, what would you like to see happen?
Well, I think what needs to happen really, Boris and TfL make lots of decisions about the taxi trade which are improper. They don't follow proper process. They're accountable to no one really. Boris and TfL, they don't have to answer to anyone, which in itself isn't correct. So I think the opportunity tomorrow for the Environmental Audit Committee, which is a parliamentary select committee, to actually take action and do something is a positive opportunity, and we're just hoping that they actually do something to scrutinise what the Mayor's done.
The Go Slow protest then, is this the most efficient way to get your message across? Is there anything else maybe we could do to make people more aware, or make the authorities more aware of pollution in the capital?
Well, you know, the fact of having to take that sort of action to draw attention to this is wrong in itself. Taxi drivers would much rather be out working rather than having to spend time. It's out of sheer desperation that drivers are forced to take some sort of action. You know, it would be great if there was some mechanism set up whereby the Mayor's held to account for the improper decisions that he's made in relation to the taxi trade. With the pollution, it's a serious issue that affects everyone in London. You know, everyone knows someone that's affected by heart disease or lung disease, you know, cancer. All of these diseases, 4,267 people a year dying from pollution in London. It's outrageous. There's lots of things that could have been done. In Sweden, they implemented a strategy of clean diesel, which reduces pollution in every single diesel vehicle on the road. It costs nothing to do because it's more efficient to use that type of fuel, but it would reduce pollution overnight instantly on a massive scale. Things like that have been ignored by the Mayor for some reason. He's not implemented any proper strategies. So that's of concern, I think.
Dave, thank you very much indeed for that. So the protest will be happening today, a bit later on in the afternoon, and we'll be hearing from Boris, I'm sure, over the next couple of days on this issue. So thank you very much indeed for your time, Dave. Much appreciated.